the starvation fraud. It's a genocide fraud. If we wanted to commit genocide, we would have done it in one afternoon.
So the Triggernometry dipshit losers, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, as I lovingly like to refer to them, decided to have on Benjamin Netanyahu to have a propaganda suckfest and ask him a bunch of what they referred to as tough questions. They're asking Benjamin Netanyahu the tough questions. Really, what ends up happening is they, of course, give him a platform to do a bunch of propaganda. It's absolutely disgusting, embarrassing, humiliating for them. The fact that people listen to these doofuses and actually take them seriously, I just don't understand it. Anyway, let's go ahead and listen to watch a couple of clips here and try to react, set the record straight on some of this nonsense.
Prime Minister, you've just used the words the Western leaders buckled, and I'm assuming what you're referring to is Keir Starmer's statement on the 25th of July, where he said that the UK would recognise a Palestinian state. What is your response to that? And do you think that is just going to essentially encourage Hamas to continue their resistance?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, look, they commit the
even the setup of the question, he sets it up so that it could be a propagandized answer. Like, oh, don't you think this is setting up Hamas, wink, wink, to take more, to encourage Hamas? What do you think, Benjamin Netanyahu?
Resist. So essentially encourage Hamas to continue their resistance.
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, look, they commit the greatest savagery against Jews since the Holocaust. And the Prime Minister of Britain says, we'll reward you with a de facto state, which is what? Which is committed openly to repeating the October 7th massacre over and over and over again.
He's not trying to, he's not rewarding Hamas. It's nothing to do with rewarding Hamas or rewarding a terrorist organization. He's trying to recognize that a people that have lived in this part of the world for as long as they have, to give them the same opportunity as you guys have to have their own state. It has nothing to do with any of that bullshit.
And they say, well, no, look, we recognize Israel's right to defend itself. You know, they always add that. You hear that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Course.
Well, they recognize Israel's right to defend itself as long as Israel doesn't exercise that right. So now let's imagine.
Because you're defending yourself, it's offensive obliteration and annihilation of a people that the vast majority are children and women and don't have any offensive capability. Look at this stupid smug smirk on these fucking idiots' faces, just eating it up.
What would be the response of Britain if well, in your case, about 15,000 people or 10,000 people would be butchered in one day, and you'd have, I don't know, 2,500 hostages taken. You know, would you say, oh, well, we should give our attackers a state right next to London? Of course not. What would the Americans say if you had 50,000 Americans?
They keep playing this game where they're trying to equate Hamas with all the Palestinians. The Palestinians and Hamas are not all one and the same thing. There are plenty of normal Palestinians who are just victims in this whole thing. They are just looking for decency and human rights. Of course, there are factions and terrorist organizations and things that have gone rogue and you know, of course, all the complicated history in there, but they are not one and the same. There's two different things going on. There are a lot of different things going on here.
Americans butchered, okay, and thousands of Americans taken hostage. Obviously, they'd say, no, we're not going to give them a state. Sort of not in New Jersey, but right in Manhattan, you know, that's ridiculous. So what the standard that is being applied is not merely wrong, it's just downright dangerous, because you're really rewarding these monstrous terrorists with the greatest prize, and that's because of weakness. It's weakness. It's weakness in the face of distorted media, of packed social networks, packed with bots. B-O-U-G-H-T, B-O-T-S, bots. But it's also these radical minorities.
Anyone that's supporting Palestinian human rights and basic human decency are just they're just bots. It's just made up. It's phony. There's no other side to this story. Everything that I say is correct, and nothing that anyone else, their perspective is just completely fabricated. Give me a fucking break.
Which are protesting there. And by the way, you should ask Keir Starmer. Here's a suggestion. Ask him, okay? What do these protesters say about Britain? I know what they say about Israel. Israel has to be destroyed from the river to the sea, you know. You think this is a massive continent. It's all of 30, 40 miles, okay? But what do they say about Britain? Well, Britain should go down. What do they say about the UK? And the same for the protesters in the US. They burn Israeli flags, they burn American flags, and they burn the UK flag. So they're basically a hostile minority supporting monstrosities. And I think that it's shameful the way that the Western leaders in Britain, in France, in Canada, in New Zealand, the way they buckle under. They don't have, Europe has gone through the destruction of the Jews. 80 years later, that's what they have to say. They attack the Jewish state and they give a prize for those who would destroy the one and only Jewish.
Again, his fucking framing is so goddamn unbelievable. Look at his evil fucking smirk on his face. I hate this guy so much. Just say, let me rewind that part again.
Destruction of the Jews. 80 years later, that's what they have to say. They attack the Jewish state and they give a prize for those who would destroy.
So standing up for standing up for the human rights of a group of people is by de facto attacking Israel is his statement there. Give me a fucking break.
The one and only Jewish state. Shame.
To be saying things like this while you are in the middle of carpet bombing and tomahawk missiling hospitals and daycares and streets and residents and refugee camps, it's just like my mind can't even comprehend the level of depravity that you have to get to be speaking things like this. It's just I just don't understand it.
But Prime Minister, they would say that the amount of casualties that have now been inflicted upon the Palestinian people, the suffering that the Palestinian civilians are going through, that Israel has achieved practically all of its aims. And if Israel continues to perpetuate this war, what it's going to do is it's going to radicalize the population even more so. The more population gets radicalized, the more that joins Hamas. So essentially what Israel will be trapped in is a forever war. What do you say to that argument?
I think the forever war is the opposite. I think if we leave them there and they're committed to our destruction, then you'll have a forever war. But what is happening?
You, exactly like this Tweedledum stated, you continue radicalizing them through your actions, through your aggression, through your depravity and belligerency. If you can get to a diplomatic solution, if you can come to peace, if you can start working through negotiations and again diplomacy, try to come to agreements and civility with your neighbors, well, then you might have a chance to walk away from the situation. Problem is, that's not Benjamin Netanyahu's MO. His MO is war forever. He's the security guy somehow, even though it was under his watch that October 7th happens. He's the security guy. He's the war guy. And so in order for him to stay in power, there needs to constantly be Israeli occupation and expansion and bombing and war. And so his whole existence is based on the fact that there will forever be more bombing, more radicalization, and this perpetual process. He has no interest in stopping it, and that's why everything he does, everything he says, every appearance he has is to further that goal and that goal alone.
On the ground is actually the opposite. What is happening on the ground is we now have Gazans who are fighting Hamas because they see now in the closing phase of this war, after we had to go through these 7 fronts against all the proxies and Iran itself, and now we're circling back to finish off Hamas and demolish its last stronghold in Gaza. They see hope. They say, don't let up. Gazans, they kill Hamas. They fight Hamas. They die fighting them. And they're saying
it's like the Tim Dillon sketch, like the Gazan, the fucking leg that had been blown up, and it's saying like, no, we support it. We love being bombed. I just I can't believe it.
This is our final hope to free ourselves from this tyranny. This tyranny that has caused them endless suffering and has not invested a penny of the billions that they received for the people of Gaza. So quite the opposite. It's free. We're fighting. You hear this slogan, "Free Gaza"? I agree. Free Gaza from Hamas terror. Free Gaza from Hamas tyranny. Now, as far as Israel's performance on the battlefield,
free Gaza from Israeli tyranny.
This is the fraud. It's not merely the starvation fraud. It's the genocide fraud. If we wanted to commit genocide, we would have done it in one afternoon. We have the capacity. But we don't do that. You know, look at the way the Allied forces fought in Fallujah. You know, look at the way they fought in Mosul. It took them 9 months against 3,000 terrorists. 9 months.
Again, I don't understand that you compare your situation to the absolute worst of American atrocities doesn't make any fucking sense. Those are also terrible atrocities, you dickhead.
3,000 terrorists. We face 10 times the number of terrorists. And what do? We call up the Palestinian civilians and we say, leave the area. Millions. Millions of text messages, millions of individual phone calls.
Well, apparently it hasn't worked and it hasn't been enough time because you've fucking killed and maimed 100,000 people, maybe more. How many people are chopped under the rubble? We just don't even know at this point.
Get out. And Hamas stands there and tries to prevent them by shooting them, killing them. So what do you think? Is that genocide? No, it isn't. You know it isn't. And yet Israel is being blamed. And of course, the ratio of combatants to non-combatants killed is about 1.5 to 1, which is probably, I think every civilian death is a tragedy. We do everything we can, as no army has done in history in such dense urban warfare, to prevent
every single excuse in the book. Oh, it was Hamas's fault. They're the ones that are shooting the Palestinians. And no, we give them a warning. We give them like 3 minutes warning to get out of the area, and then we carpet bomb the whole thing. And it's like it's not our fault. And what are you going to do? It's urban warfare. It's so tightly packed. We have no other choice but to kill civilians. It's like every single line in the fucking. He's like a goddamn like one of those dolls. You just pull the string and it's like Hamas. It's Hamas's fault. Too densely populated, civilian populated, most densely populated. We didn't have a choice. It's like I can't even with this fucking guy.
But Israel can't be. It's not merely that it can't be held to a higher standard. It's held to an impossible standard. I mean, look at the Allies in World War II. You know what they did?
Not going and killing 100,000 civilians is an impossible standard. Yeah, I get you. You're totally rational.
When they went into Congress. Do you know, Konstantin, do you know? What did they do? Tell me, what did they do? Did they call civilians to leave? Did they give them, caravans of food? Did anything like that happen? No.
Caravans of food, just like you blockaded all food from entering for months and months on end. I can't even listen to this goddamn liar. It's unbelievable.
Honest, and this is an argument I've made myself. At the end of World War II, we flattened Germany because they made us, because we had to destroy the military infrastructure, the transportation infrastructure to actually be able to win the war. But we live in a very different age now, don't we, Prime Minister, where all the atrocities of war are instantly available to everybody around the world on social media. And that is something you said in your own press conference last week when you were asked whether Israel is winning the PR war, you said we're definitely not. And that's putting it very mildly. So that's the challenge you face now, isn't it?
Yes, but, I never thought of Winston Churchill as a war criminal, but I guess he would be held as such today. But, of course, it's not really towards the end of the war that you flattened Germany. When you cross when you cross the channel in Normandy and you went into the cities, you just bombed these cities, tank fire, artillery fire, air fire, without giving notice or anything like that. And you did it because you had to destroy the enemy. So you're right. It's a different era. That's why we are acting differently. And we are we're holding ourselves to the highest standard, and yet we're being condemned by those who know better and even saw their own troops in Afghanistan or in Iraq. Be that as it may, it's very hard to fight the deception, the lies, the starved children, the pictures of starved children who turn out to have cerebral palsy or other congenital diseases that leave them emaciated. And Israel is, of course, accused of starving children, pretty much the way that in the Middle Ages Jews were accused of killing Christian children for their blood. So, what do you do against the lie?
It's all blood libel. It's all blood libel. This vague term that apparently everybody who ever criticizes, Israel's genocide is doing blood libel, right?
The earth 10 times before the truth has a chance to emerge. You have to shorten the war as speedily as possible. And frankly, we also have to do something about the algorithms and the social networks. This is a big challenge. I don't want to dismiss it. But look,
Got to silence free speech, got to shut down the platforms, got to police the platforms. We can't have people going out and talking, telling the truth. We can't have people exposing my war crimes.
We Jews have been fighting and losing the propaganda war for about 2,500 years. But what's different now is that we're winning the ground war. We're forcing, what comes after the propaganda vilification is massacres, and what we're doing now, massacres that we were completely defenseless with. Right now, after the vilifications come the attacks, but we're winning those attacks. That's the change. And the faster we win, I think the faster the propaganda war will dissipate.
All right, let me skip forward. There's me an ad here. Let me skip forward to this last part here where he talks about the future of Gaza, and you'll just see again. It highlights for me just how much of a dipshit pinhead. I think Konstantin Kisin is the guy in the middle. Just play the clip.
Or by me, but by you, and I know that you're doing it, and I want to commend you for doing it.
Well, we've certainly been challenging the woke right, and that's one of many critics, but we'll continue to do it. Prime Minister, I know you're limited on time. We'll just do a couple more questions, and I want to ask you about the future. And I know that if I say to you, well, what does the future of Gaza look like? You're going to say, we got to destroy Hamas. We agree. You're going to say, we want the hostages back. We agree. You're going to say, we got to demilitarize Gaza so they can't do October the 7th again. We agree. And then you're going to say, and then we need a civilian government in Gaza that's not hostile to Israel. And that's where you lose me, Prime Minister, because I look at the opinion polls, I look at the people celebrating October the 7th in Gaza, I look at the fact that thousands of civilians crossed into Israel on October the 7th to commit the atrocities that were committed.
Do you hear just in the framing of the question so far, this guy coming out and basically saying, no, Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm to the right of you. I don't think you're going far enough. Wait, you're going to let the Palestinians stay? You're going to let them establish their own government? What are you, crazy? You're going to let people establish their own government? No, you got to go and, I don't know what this fucking idiot would suggest, what his plan is, what he would want them to do. But you're coming out as to the right of Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu is not going far enough for you. Like, you got serious problems, buddy.
Crossed into Israel on October the 7th to commit the atrocities that were committed. And I go, these people hate you. They hate you, they hate Israel, and they hate Jews. How are you going to have a peaceful coexistence with those people, particularly given the fact that, as Francis mentioned earlier, they have been very heavily radicalized, not only through the education system, but through the fact that they've been on the receiving end on Israel's war effort?
And the crazy thing is, the ones who have been radicalized are the Israelis. That if you go and watch these like interviews with people on the streets and interviews with people online, they hate the Arabs. They want to kill, they want to destroy the Palestinians. They hate them, even the women, the children, everyone. They are the ones that are radicalized. So we're always talking about it from or at least these fucking idiots from a one like lens perspective. It's like as if to say that Arabs and Palestinians just innately hate Jewish people. It's not true. People are not born like that. It's circumstances that lead up to people feeling the way they do.
I think what you're pointing out to is that you need also a program of de-radicalization. Now, has that been done in societies that have been conditioned to hate their adversaries? Yes, of course, it's been done in two places prominently, in Japan and in Germany, but it's also been done in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. I mean, there have been very noteworthy programs, successful programs of de-radicalization in some of the Gulf states, which are actually proving to be to break the this prototype of Arab societies that cannot seize the future. I'm not saying they're model democracies, mind you, they're not, but they certainly want to seize modernity and not go back to the savage and early medievalism that the Islamic fundamentalists want to drag us all to. So I think that there's a need for de-radicalization. It has to be part of the reconstruction of Gaza. You not only reconstruct Gaza, you also de-radicalize Gaza. It's going to be a heavy lift, but it's necessary, and it can be done.
So I don't know what that sounds. I mean, that to me sounds like rounding people up into re-education camps and Lord knows what. I mean, I would be absolutely horrified to see what that looks like. I mean, it's like, what do you even have to say? This is just the absolute, it's disgusting. These people are absolutely disgusting. The framing of the interview is absolutely disgusting. We're going to ask him the tough questions. We're going to bring Benjamin Netanyahu and ask him the really hard questions. And then it turns into one slop framing propaganda fucking suckfest for these goddamn lunatics and war criminals. So congratulations, you guys are absolutely useless. You're less than useless. You are just downright, evil at the end of the day. So good job. Enjoy it. Enjoy your platform. And I hope history looks back on you with absolute disdain. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. I hope you like, subscribe, and stick around for more coverage. And we'll leave it at that.